At OSU, pistols firing is just something people say, whether it be at a football game or out and about on campus. With the Entrepreneurship Club at OSU, it was how they planned to start off the school year, with a bang. The football team, which ended up being third in the nation at the end of the season, was not the only thing kicking off the fall semester. The Entrepreneurship Club had ideas and plans, they just needed the resources and drive to execute them. This idea, headed by club president Fash Fade and executive team member Justin Walmer, was called the Back to School Kickoff Concert, and it took place on the evening of September 1st, 2011. Here's how it was all able to happen, and the reasoning behind it. According to Justin, one of the most important aspects of the upcoming event was founding and getting contracts signed with the bands who were going to be playing at this event.
You want to talk to someone on the phone, text messages, emails, they don't really work, especially when you're dealing with band members. It does not work. You have to call them and pick up the phone and say, hey, you're going to show up. Then you have to meet with them. You need to make sure you have a contract that says, hey, I'm going to show up at this time. This is what we negotiated on, and this is the contract. This is what it says. You'll be here at this time.
Every event needs funding, and the Entrepreneurship Club had several ideas about how to fund the kickoff concert. Using their award-winning partnership model of fundraising, the club set out to find sponsors willing to enter into partnership deals for the concert.
And we targeted sponsors that had something that we thought would add value to the concert.
Companies like Kicker Involved, Qdoba, Pita Pit, Jimmy John's, Blue Energy Drink, and what we did is we had those companies pay us to be on campus, and that's a benefit to a company because it's really hard to infiltrate the university, and it's really hard to get your brand or your product on the university property without getting approvals and things like that. And so that's one thing E-Club opened up to the local vendors. And so what we do is we let them set up tables, we let them put sponsorship on their logos on the t-shirts, banners.
Walmart was our title sponsor for this event, and without them it wouldn't have been possible. They basically gave us $1,500, which enabled us to pay the bands to come out, and when we got a sponsor like Walmart, that really told us that maybe we were onto something, and it was something that we could probably pull off.
In addition to just monetary deals, the OSU E-Club landed a deal with Kicker to supply all of the audio equipment for the concert. When thinking about marketing for the concert, Justin had some ideas. He wanted to try and make the advertising unique and different, but at the same time, he figured traditional radio advertising for an event like this one would do them some good.
We got on air in the morning shows and talked about what we were doing. Project 2011 is my company. We got the bands involved, but the radio station was really about promoting the school, the university, the Entrepreneurship Club. So they were really on board. So make sure to go talk to those media outlets. Definitely build up a relationship, whether it's going to lunch with them and talking about them, and then also, you never know who's in your backyard. But we also looked in who had the rights to the airwaves and who had the rights to sell advertising on those radio stations. And you can really find out who has it because the radio stations more than likely are owned by someone and they own the rights. So their company, whatever company they set up, they are the ones who sell the radio advertisement. Well, there's a guy in town who owns the right to a radio station, and all it is a rebroadcast from a larger station in Tulsa, which is a local city. And what we did was we just piggybacked on that.
In addition to the contracts that laid everything out between the Entrepreneurship Club and the participating bands, there were some extra incentives the club thought would help bring in and secure the bands.
We incentivized them with different cash, and different nominations of cash, depends on the size of the band, and then also the free food and then the exposure on campus. That was one thing to get the name out there of the bands. That was the most important out of anything besides the money.
As with any outside event, the location and timing is crucial. Here's what our guys have to say about what they picked and their experiences with that.
One thing that was very helpful was the location that we had. The library lawn at OSU is a central location, and it's a high traffic area, and so even if a person maybe didn't see our marketing material, there's a good chance that at some point in time during the event that they were going to be passing by and they might just stop just to see what was going on. We held it on September 1st, which in Oklahoma tends to be pretty sweltering, and that was the case for this event. It was 114 degrees that day, and although we had a lot of people that came out, it seemed like for the most part they were coming out, they were looking and seeing what we had, they would stop and listen for a few minutes, and then they would leave because it was just too hot. And we didn't really start getting a crowd until it started to get dark.
In addition to everything that was discussed, there are a few last tips Justin and Fash would like to share with you.
And another thing, when it comes to logistics, you need to also write a detailed schedule.
If I could stress anything, it would be to make sure that you explore your marketing avenues. You need to look at your target audience and understand what's going to compel them to come to the event. It doesn't matter how much planning or how well you execute the event. It doesn't mean anything if nobody comes out to see it.
Try to bootstrap. Try not to go out and buy a big production. You know, you can get a nice $30,000 production for $1,500, but it's going to cost you. And so find some of the guys that have a PA, some of the bands that you hire that have the microphones. There's cords, cables, lighting. Lighting is really important if you're doing it in the evening time, because without lighting you don't have a show. Without sound you don't have a show. So these are just some of the small things that you need to remember.
Some companies can say yes and then have a check for you the next day, but for the most part, especially when you're seeking corporate sponsors, they're going to need some time to get this proposal in front of decision makers.
They pieced this plan together, carried it out, and saw this entire event from start to finish. It took a lot of time, work, and thought to throw the kickoff concert, but it also required the generous help from many other team members in the Entrepreneurship Club.